In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a simple quiz on Tangwood.com, the home of the multiple choice quiz. You can then create, play and share your very own quizzes and include links to your social networking pages to increase your own popularity. Then, share further quizzes with your newfound followers and so on. Let everybody know how great you are at making quizzes. The best tip I can give you about being successful with your quizzes is to take your time. Make them rich, interesting, unique and entertaining. Boring and badly written quizzes may struggle to get 100 plays, whereas an excellently written and interesting quiz can result in hundreds of thousands of plays. So that extra effort can make so much more of a difference. It's the quality that counts. To be able to create quizzes, you will need to have created a Tangwood.com account, and this is simple enough. Just go to the register page and fill in the form, then confirm by email and you're ready to go. Once you've joined, just log in and go to your control center and click on the Create Quiz tab. Correctly fill in the captcha code and then click the Create Quiz button. If you've done it right, you will be taken to the Create Quiz page. Quizzes can be broken into 3 sections: the introduction, the questions and the ratings. This quiz hasn't been created yet. First, you need to give your quiz a name for you to recognize it by. I'm going to call mine the Festive Christmas Carol Quiz. Then give it a title. I'll use the same. This is what players will see. Then type a good descriptive introduction for your quiz, explaining what it's about. At the top of the page you will see sliders for the quiz width and the font size. You can drag these about until you've got them where you want them. Between the sliders is a drop-down box with picture categories. When you change the category, the pictures in the list below will change to reflect the available pictures in that category. There's plenty of categories to choose from, and you can also create your own from your own uploaded images, as you can see here. All the categories starting with a plus sign are ones created by me. Next, you can choose a background color and text color for your quiz content by clicking on the self-titled sections. To the right of the color pickers, you can select how many questions you want in your quiz. And don't worry, you can change the amount at a later time, but remember that you can't change the amount once your quiz goes live. This is to keep scoring fair. For example, you might have 30 questions in your quiz, and after you've had several thousand plays you might want to reduce the question amount to 5. That wouldn't fairly reflect the scoring statistics. There is more to it than that, but I'm not going to go into it here. Finally, choose a quiz type. All this option does is preset the amount of answers, and in the case of the true or false and yes or no options, it pre-fills the answers too. I'm going to choose 3 options per question. Once you've done all that, click the Save and Continue to Questions button to create the quiz. This will take you onto the questions section. Here you can see the familiar appearance settings. By default, all of these are set to the same as the ones in the introduction. However, you can customize them for each and every question if you like so. Below these options you can navigate through the questions by clicking on their numbers, and can set an amount of options for each one by clicking the options selection like so. Initially, all the question selections will be coloured a shade of red, with the selected question being a brighter shade. Red indicates incomplete. Type in your question and all possible answers in the provided boxes below. Click the tick on the correct answer or answers. I'm going to make the first one correct in each question. I'll explain why in the next section. If you look up at the question selector, you will notice that it's turned a shade of green, telling us that the question seems to be complete. It does this when it detects text in the question and all the answers, and at least one of the score sliders is all the way over to the right. So, if I change the options to 4, suddenly one of the answers is empty and it changes back to red. Let's go back to 3. I'll finish all the questions up in record time. I know I've changed some appearance settings for one question, but I'll show you an easy way to fix messiness if you're still around at the end of the video. Once you have finished the questions and they are all green, click the Save and Continue to Ratings button. Again, you will see the sliders and pickers at the top to select the appearance for the end of the quiz. When I created the questions, I made all the correct answers the first option. That's because I'm going to leave these two random options ticked. The random question order makes your questions appear in a random order every time someone plays your quiz, and the random answer order makes the answers for each question appear in a random order every time. So it doesn't matter if I made all the first options the correct ones, because they will be mixed up for me. Useful, eh? To the right, you will need to select a category for your quiz to be listed in. The quiz cannot go live without selecting this. Don't worry if you can't find exactly the category you're looking for. Find the closest you can and go with that. Underneath that, you will need to set a difficulty level for your quiz. Use your discretion when making your decision. Don't think how easy it is for you, but how easy it might be for everyone else playing. Next, there is a slider for a time limit. Handy if you want to put a time limit on your quiz. Next to the color pickers, you will see two drop-down boxes. One is for the amount of ratings and the other for the type of result to display. As a rule, it makes sense not to pick more than one more of the amount of questions that you have, and it's probably best to choose less. So, if you have 10 questions, then there's no point picking more than 11 ratings. Personally, I'd go with 5 to 7 at a push. The next drop down is set by default to rating and percent. As you can see, there are other choices. We'll forget about the first three options for this video. They can be handy for creating questionnaires and only show text and not scores. Rating and percent shows some rating text and the percentage of questions they got right. Rating and score shows rating text and the amount of questions correct. Percent only and score only show the percentage and questions correct, without any rating text. I'm going to leave it on rating and percent for my quiz, and I'm going to choose 5 ratings and a main heading of The End. Below, you will see 5 text boxes to represent the 5 ratings I have selected. As a handy guide, you will see the score or percentage range that each particular rating covers to the right of the text. The first and last ratings are special ratings because they represent a score of nothing correct at the top and everything correct at the bottom. Fill in the text in your ratings to reflect how well they did in the quiz. Make them as amusing and entertaining as you can. At the bottom there is a tick box labelled Allow players to review their mistakes. This option is only available on quizzes that have a score or percent. If this is ticked and the player gets any questions wrong, they will be presented with a link at the end of the quiz to see which ones they got wrong and what the correct answers were. I'm going to tick that. When you've completed this section, click the Save and Return to Control Center button. I'm going to deliberately leave one of the ratings blank so I can demonstrate something for you. The best way to learn about all you can do is to experiment with different options. You can always test your quiz limitless times before you submit them to go live. Here, you can see the quiz listed in the Control Center. If you want to write lots of quizzes, you can create your own lists, as I have here, so that you can organize your quizzes. It saves me trawling through over 300 quizzes to find what I want. In the list, you can see the name that will be clickable when it's live, how many questions there are, when it was created, how many live plays the quiz has had, an edit link that I'm going to click on in a minute, a test link will appear when the quiz is playable, status icons, and a delete icon that is self-explanatory. I'm going to concentrate briefly on the status icons. Currently, it's showing a circle with an exclamation mark, and if you hover over the icon, it tells you that the quiz is incomplete, and what in particular needs attention. You can see here that it's telling me empty ratings, and if you remember, I left one of them deliberately blank. Let's fix that by clicking on the edit link. Remember, I changed the appearance settings for one of the questions. If I tick the reset box here and click Save and Continue to Questions, it will standardize all the question settings and rating settings to those at the beginning of the quiz. Very useful if it gets a bit messy. So I'm going to tick it and continue. See, my first question's appearance settings have changed. I'm going to complete this last rating and click Save and return to Control Center. Looking at the status section, we can now see that the icon has turned into a grey tick, and that's exactly what we're looking for. A grey tick means it's ready to submit. You will also notice that there is now a test link, so I'm going to quickly run through a test. I recommend testing your quizzes thoroughly to make sure they're perfect before submitting. Well, I'm happy with that. Once you're satisfied that everything is as you want it to be, you can submit your quiz to go live. This can be the frustrating bit because all quizzes are manually vetted, so it could take hours or even days, so be patient. Once your quiz has been vetted, you will receive an email telling you whether it's been approved or rejected. That's if your email settings are set up to allow notifications. Hovering over the grey tick should say Submit your quiz to go live, and this can be done by clicking the grey tick. Once clicked, the page should refresh and the tick should now be an orange colour, indicating that the quiz is pending review. You can edit it at this time, but it will remove it from the submission queue and you will have to submit again. If the quiz is under review, then it's not editable. If your quiz is approved, you should now see two green ticks. The right tick shows the live status as good, and the left tick shows the development quiz matches the live version. If you make any changes to your quiz by editing, you should see the left tick turn grey. Click it again to submit your updates. If you've made changes to custom images or any text in the quiz, the update will require human approval, but any other changes will go live immediately. Once the quiz is live, the title of the quiz turns into a link, and you will be able to visit the live version of your quiz by clicking on it. Unlike in the test environment, the share buttons do work on the live quizzes, so one of your first tasks should be to let everyone know about your shiny new quiz by sharing it with the world. Want to create custom lists for your quizzes? Just click the plus sign next to the drop-down box and type the name for your new list. Once done, you can start adding quizzes to the list. A quiz can be added to multiple lists if you want. I'm going to add this quiz to my festive quizzes list by clicking the plus sign to the left of the quiz, then selecting the list from the drop-down box. Now you can see that quiz if I select the festive quizzes list. As well as viewing all quizzes, you can also view quizzes that you haven't yet added to a list. Very useful. You can upload your own images and also organize them into custom image lists to use with your own quizzes. But remember, this is important. You must own the copyright to those images or have permission to use them if you don't own the copyright. All the images I use in my quizzes weren't actually created by me, but come from a website that offers royalty-free images. And that website is morgfile.com. You should go there and take a look. You might notice when you start making quizzes that you can only create a maximum of 10 questions for each quiz. Yet in this video, my Christmas Carol quiz has 20 questions. Look in the information tab for more about this. Simply put, the more live quizzes you have, the more questions you can put in your quizzes. It's a reward system of sorts. Click the information tab to learn more. That's it for now. Check out how to make a questionnaire using Tangwood.com on the Tangwood Quizzes YouTube channel. Now, create, play, and share with the world on Tangwood.com.